An executive shakeup has come for CVS, the company announcing it's replaced CEO Karen Lynch with longtime pharmacy benefits executive David Joyner. The shares have been sinking today following that news. For more on what this means for CVS moving forward, we want to welcome in Stephanie Davis, Barclays Senior Research Analyst and Managing Director of Healthcare. Stephanie, do you think that David Joyner is the right choice to take over as head of CVS?
You know, I think the decision to put David Joyner in as CEO is probably the right one and the best one they can make right now. David has turnaround experience. He has a very straightforward pull no punches style that we saw in his internal memo to the company today. I think all of that is indicative of the directness that we're going to expect out of him and something that CVS really needs as they go into this next era.
So, Stephanie, what should be Joyner's priorities?
I mean, the biggest question right now is who's going to lead Aetna, right? You had Karen Lynch out today. You have Brian Kane out last quarter. That leaves a pretty significant vacuum in a seat for Aetna, which is the entirety of what's been driving the downside for the past few quarters. I think we'll see an announcement soon. David Joyner has said that we're going to be getting a new Aetna head by year end. It cannot come soon enough.
Stephanie, you know, it's interesting that you talk about that he's the right guy to lead the company here. I think it's interesting his background is also from the pharmacy benefits management business. That, at least politically, that business has been, not just at CVS, but sort of across the industry, under a lot of scrutiny. And obviously the shares are going down today as well. So, what do you think are maybe the things he needs to work on here, or why maybe the street is questioning this choice?
So I don't think they're questioning the choice. The stock has had such a pullback because of the scale of the guidance cut that they had, right? You saw very negative results out of the Aetna side of the business. That's not really something that you're going to be able to fix in a near-term fashion. But I wouldn't read into his background at PBMs as saying, oh my gosh, CVS is leaning into the PBM business. Instead, it's someone who is a proven executive who has been with the organization for a very long time, who has done a turnaround and will do a very good job of it, given his past history. I also think, it'd be remiss not to mention what CVS has done with its PBM, much more creative and much more consumer facing. Think about CostVantage. That couldn't happen, that level of consumer price transparency, without someone really taking a crucial look at the PBM.
Stephanie, let's get your take on Karen Lynch. I'm interested to get your take there. What, in your opinion, did she get wrong?
I think it's just there were a number of missteps this year, right? The leadership change doesn't come as a huge surprise to myself, or I think for many investors in the community, just because there has been, I think, 4 guidance cuts year to date. And so it's not a question of really how they're able to execute so far. Some of it's more on the question of execution specifically in Aetna, which is what they got wrong. For what it's worth, the retail pharmacy and the PBM have done quite well this year.
Well, and I was going to say, it sounds like also the company has pushed back against the idea that it might split itself up. Do you think that's the right choice? Do you think CVS is stronger and being valued correctly as that combined business?
So we're overweight in the stock, and that is because I do not think it is being valued correctly, but I don't think a sum of the parts is the right way to approach it, right? A potential breakup seems highly unlikely, not only because the amount of dyssynergies you would create. Don't forget, CVS saw $750 million in cost synergies from Aetna alone. They saw $500 million when they bought Caremark. So there's a lot of value in combining these assets together. But more than that, you can do very strategic things by having a PBM, a payer, and a retail pharmacy together. What I mentioned about CostVantage before, that wouldn't be possible without having all of these 3 assets kind of working in tandem.
Stephanie, great to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.